why we bless our children, why we bless our sons after and as Ephraim and Manasseh. So there's two, like, I mean, the main one of the reasons, the big reason that most people hear about or to talk about is the reason we bless them is because Ephraim and Manasseh were raised in Egypt, and yet they still kept their heritage. They still were believers in Yeshua. Believers in Torah and Hashem, right? They still believed in God. And so, even though they were, raised in a secular society like we are, they were still, they still kept their faith, right? But I guess one that isn't talked about as much is this other reason. So, we read this verse about, Yaakov switching his hands and placing them and making the younger one greater than the older one, which happened many times, right? It kind of happened throughout our sages, throughout our forefathers, right? And we see this happening, but we see also like a lot of controversy, a lot of strife because of this happening, right? So we see Ishmael and Isaac, right? Isaac was actually the younger one, but yet he was the one with the blessing. He was the one that was blessed more and carried on the truth of Hashem. And yet there was this rivalry between Ishmael and Isaac. Even to this day, there's still problems, right? Still happening, still going on. And then we have example of Esau and Yaakov, and Esau was the older one, and yet the blessing went to Yaakov, right? And Esau, is related to Rome now, so there's still like controversy, problems in between that as well, right? It's like these never-ending controversies and never-ending problems and strife. And then even with Yosef and his brothers, Yosef was the younger firstborn, if you want to say it, and yet he also was given this favoritism, this blessing, and then his brothers wanted to kill him and sold him into slavery. So this has been happening a lot, right, in this family, in their history. And yet we finally come to this next generation, right? This next generation, the fourth generation of Ephraim and Manasseh, and they too, their blessings are switched, right? The blessings are switched to the younger. And yet there's no mention of any kind of controversy or any kind of problems in the Torah about these two brothers, about their ancestors, about their generations that they have afterwards. There was no issues, right? They get along together. They are brothers who dwell together, right? They get along and they love each other. And so this is one of the reasons why we bless our children to be like Ephraim and Manasseh, because we don't want our children to be fighting and having problems. We want them to be able to get together, to get along, right? Not only get along while they're in our homes, but get along way after we're dead. We want them to always get along, right? And so we have a quote here from Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch. He teaches us about this. He says, "The crossing of the hands symbolizes that in God's kingdom, it is not an accident of birth, but essential worth of the individual that counts." So we will look at that. The blessing being given to Ephraim is not just because of his age or because of the order of his birth, but because of what he's going to do. And Yaakov had this prophetic gift of he knows what's going to happen in the future, right? And then we also, the wisdom of this saying is like it's not true value comes not from the position or status, but from the character, right? It's from the character of the person. And then Yeshua also said something similar in a way. He said, so the last will be first and the first will be last, in Matthew. And, we usually take this as the servant, the one who has a servant's heart will be the one that is going to be honored in the future, but he could even be blessed in the present too. But we also take this to be like, if you're serving others, if you're going to be a servant to others, you will be blessed. You'll be blessed, and you will be, in a sense, first in God's kingdom, right? And so, these are the truths that we learned. So we see, like, over history, we have, like, all these generations of this strife and conflict, and then finally, this was stopped with Ephraim and Manasseh. And I think, in general, all the tribes, right, they kind of all stopped fighting among themselves. So later on, right, happened later on, but Ephraim and Manasseh, they were the symbol of getting along together. Hine matov hu manaim shevet achim gam yachad, right? The brothers who dwell together. And so, I guess, so what is our challenge, right? What is our challenge today? What is some practical thing that we could do today, right? And this is definitely geared towards the young people living in homes that have parents and they're not on their own. But you could apply this to your brother, you could apply this to your friends or other family. But the examples I give here are directly, specifically to our kids, right? So first of all, how can you get along with your brother or sisters, right? How can you, be happy for the blessings that they get, right? So you might have a piece. You might have eat the whole cake in the house, and there's only one piece left, right? And you really want that cake. You're competitive. You want to eat that cake. It's really delicious. You want that last piece, right? But I tell you, instead of trying to get that last piece for yourself, that you would split it, right? You would split it. You'd give it to everybody, not just yourself, right? Or say one of your siblings gets extra attention from mom or dad. You don't be jealous and upset that you didn't get that attention, but say words of praise to them, saying, "Well, you did a good job," or whatever reason that your parents are telling them that they did a good job. You should also have that same feeling for them, right? Say they did really well in a test. You're not going to be like, they're always so smart. No, you're going to be happy for them. You're going to be like, man, they did a really good job. Say you're playing a game. We play games, right? Say we're all playing a game, and someone wins the game. Your brother or sister wins the game. They win the game a lot of times. Like, they win like 9 out of 10 times that you play the game. Don't be upset at that guy. Don't be mad at that guy for him winning. What you do is you say, You're really good at this game. You're really good at this game. You should increase, increase this skill that you have. Try to make yourself even better. Whatever. Just be very positive about it, right? Because if you're mad about it, there's nothing that can be gained from that. But if you're positive about it, maybe even they might teach you how they're winning the game or how they're being good at the game and make you better at the game too, right? So you guys got to get along. You got to get along. This is a lesson that we learned from Ephraim and Manasseh, and I want you also need to learn this message too. Okay, so get along with each other, just like Ephraim and Manasseh, and this will make your parents very happy. And this is also the reason why we bless you about this. And it goes to the girls too, even though we're only blessing the boys. This also goes for the girls as well. All right, so Shabbat Shalom.